What's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of U4 Fate Strange Fake. This is episode 11, and with me, as always, I have Bluespid.
Yeah. So this episode did certainly have a lot of backstory for Richard, especially we also get a few cameos and Easter eggs as
Well,
well.
yeah, not so much
Um,
cameos. It's more, well, I mean, there's a reference to, a particular character, but, yeah, well, I mean, I guess in terms of cameos, yeah, we do have Gray showing up. Uh, yeah.
yeah. Um, so the episode picks up right after that, shocking ending of the last episode, and which, well, after that last battle, we see not only will we find out that Gilgamesh was just shot in the chest, but we see what was it, Sigma, Assassin, um, I think Richard, Ayaka, Flat, and Jack the Ripper get consumed by this black fog by the end of that battle, and we see Sigma and Assassin wake up and they're greeted by this little girl that they were trying to save at the hospital, who was in a coma currently. It was of course Subaki,
hmm
and of course we see her servant, which she calls Mr. Black, but it doesn't really, well, as of right now we don't really see much of a physical form. It's just like this black foggy blob thing that we see just interacting with her.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, like, we find out what had happened is that the mud that were the black mud that we saw at the end of the last episode was, I think, like, technically part of Mr. Black, and it had consumed all the people that are currently there, and they'd been like transferred into like some kind of reality marble, where they're all currently like, because they find out that when they walk out into the middle of Snowfield, like there's nobody there, like it's just completely empty, and apparently the reason for that is because like Snowfield had just been basically like recreated, like the this town or the city itself had been recreated, but it's not, like, there are other things that hadn't really been like carried over and put into the reality marble.
Yeah, and at the same time, we see Ayaka. Well, she's dreaming of Richard's past, in which we see Richard as a child, you know, talking to his mother. Uh, of course, we see he did have some insecurities about himself being like basically just better at everything, you know,
Yeah, he's too
on almost
perfect.
every subject. Yeah, like better at fighting, better at like riding horses or whatnot. Or of course, at the same time, being lectured by his mother for sneaking out of the castle at one
Yeah, he
point. But
sneaks out to like
uh,
fight some bandits.
yeah, and so she wakes up, and then she tells Richard about the dream, much to his embarrassment. And what's funny is he's good at everything other than like English, which is weird because he's the king of England, and English should be like an obvious first language for someone to rule as the king of the country. And I looked into this, and like they said, some people were looking behind the scenes about Richard's history, real life history, of course, that he spoke I think it's a certain dialect of French,
hmm
and he just chose not to speak English for whatever reason. It's a weird informational tidbit, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, it just like came off as weird to me that finding out that someone someone who once ruled England just doesn't know English.
yeah, that is pretty interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, so they go outside, and then they come across the Snowfield officers, and they form an alliance. And then they go back. They go back to the church, in which no wait, I think I might be mixed up with. No, I think it was Flat who met members
Yeah,
of the church.
Flat and
Um,
Ramza like decide to work together as well. Uh,
yeah, okay. I do want to point out about
yeah, well,
about
so I
the
think we should
quartet of
state the
girls.
obvious, like, because we do see those uh Those, like, I guess you'd say like the nuns or whatever that are accompanying Ramza, and obviously like there's no way that the artist or whoever that did, I would assume like the illustrations for, or whoever came up with the character designs at least for Fate Strange Fake for those characters was not inspired by like Nier Automata, because like it's pretty obvious that those character designs are kind of, well, not one to one, but they're very, very similar to Yorha units.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, other than, like, their blindfolds have,
Well,
crosses,
yeah, they
on
have like
them.
the
I mean, it's
same
just
like bodysuit and everything. Like, I mean, there's only like some differences with the outfit, but it's pretty close, like to Yorha units.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, like,
Because I thought at
unless
first it
someone
was
can,
just that
like,
one character, but it's like all of them.
yeah, all 4 of them wear the exact same outfits with a
Yeah.
blindfold on, and it's just really funny to me that, that, uh, they somehow are, implemented into this show without anyone, like, not even Yoko Taro even, like, I don't know if he even really knows about this. Maybe he
Oh, I'm
does.
sure if he
Maybe
did know
he
about it,
doesn't.
he'd probably just say that was like really cool. I doubt
Yeah.
Taro would have any kind of a problem with it.
Uh-huh. Um. So okay, and then we also catch up with Kine with Gilgamesh, and of course she's not consumed with the fog, but she's doing everything in her power to make sure Gilgamesh stays alive. Basically, just she expended 2 of her command spells to try to heal him, and then we see Enkidu coming in, and basically just telling Tine just that she should just let him go, just because, like, under similar circumstances that Gilgamesh wouldn't shed a tear for him if he ended up in that similar state.
Yeah, I guess because they're not really like, they used to be friends, but not so much anymore. So, um, yeah, I guess that might be the reason why. But yeah, I mean, I kind of, I mean, I didn't think that Gilgamesh was really dead after the last episode, but yeah, it looks like, I mean, things are looking good for him.
Yeah. So we also catch up with Ishtar. Um, of course, like, I was puzzled as to like how Ishtar, uh, is a part of this Holy Grail war, and she's not really much of a servant, just someone who got coincidentally summoned because both Gilgamesh and Enkidu are summoned at the same time, and that's the reason why she's there. She doesn't have a master. She's just there of she's basically just there for her own free will, just to take part in this.
Yeah. And we also find out that there are, like, I think they mentioned like 2 servants that didn't get caught up in the in getting transferred into the reality marble. Uh, and that was
Yeah,
like
I think.
Alcides and what was it, the saber class servant,
He-
or
he-
not the saber, but
No,
I
I
think
think
she's
it was.
archer,
I think it was
or
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta. Yeah.
No, I think it was Hippolyta. Yeah, but the thing about Hippolyta is, like, we haven't really seen much of her ever since that confrontation
Yeah.
between Alcides and Gilgamesh, and she hasn't really made much of an appearance since then, other than just being caught in surveillance
Yeah, like
footage
she had that
in
big
the police
entrance, and then
station.
yeah, ever since then she just has not really been involved in the series.
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like that we're not gonna even see her again, even by the end of this season. Um, and oh yeah, we also catch up with with Waver and of course Gray together for the first time, and
Yeah,
of
Gray
course
finally has
Waver's
some speaking
trying to
lines.
yeah, and then of course she recommends that they get Rin Tosaka to help out, but Waver just flat out refuses to even call for her help because according to him, like, he calls Rin the devil who will only make things worse. Whatever the situation.
I mean,
Like, I don't know.
I can
I
see how, like, I mean, even regardless of Waver and Rain's whatever their, even if that has or hasn't happened yet, like their relationship, like Rain is kind of, I can see how she would be like difficult to work with, but regardless though, like, yeah, she would probably be like the person you might want to get in contact, considering she knows about the Holy Grail War. Um, But yeah, I mean, but it just seems like Waver doesn't really want to have anything to do with her, which is kind of
Yeah.
disappointing too, because like
So
yeah, we didn't even really get a cameo of her in the El Mole case files, and we don't really get one here either. But apparently she does show up, I guess,
I mean,
later on in this case files series. Considering I did see one of the later, I guess, light novel volumes had her on the cover, so I guess she shows up
yeah,
eventually. But uh,
yeah, and I think there's also uh, I think a later chapter in which Flat also interacts with Shiro Emiya,
mhm.
which leads me to believe if that storyline were to take place, I would say realistically after the Unlimited Blade Works story arc, because that's the only, I don't know, that's like the only logical story arc that that they would have those characters
Yeah, like
implemented
if
in
it's
that
like Shiro
storyline.
going to the clock tower, then yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, it's I mean it's a nice, Easter egg reference to have Rin being mentioned, but yeah, I would really love to see like, what actually happened between Rin and Waver, just to know like, what their relationship is and like why Waver really even has like such a negative opinion on her, in that instance.
yeah. Um, Yeah, but then there's another like major reveal as well, which is that apparently, well, we also see that there's a scene where Ayaka once again sees that like uh, Red Riding Hood character like following her
Yeah.
around, uh, and also we discover like at the end of the episode that Ayaka is not really Ayaka, apparently, because there is another, because according to Waver, there is another Ayaka that is currently at where'd she say she was? Like she was somewhere in Europe or yeah,
Romania.
Romania.
Yeah, Romania.
And she
Uh,
was what's
uh,
curious, what's interesting too is that they look kind of the same because we do see the other Ayaka, and she just basically just has black hair, but she has like she also wears glasses, and she kind of looks the same as the other one, but her name is Ayaka, and then like so then we have to wonder like okay, well what's Ayaka's real name? Like who is she really? Um, so
well, I mean, I would assume that the blonde Ayaka we see, right now in the show is, well, obviously we know she's affiliated with the Einstein clan,
yeah,
so it's possible she might be homunculus, or maybe she's like a completely different person that looks like Ayaka now,
hmm
but it's like we don't have the answer to that yet. Um, but yeah, it's like it was a decent episode. Pretty much trying to catch us up with like a lot of the characters in the aftermath of the last episode, and of course, then where things stand now. But we're just like really close to the end of the season, and I really feel like I'm really hoping for a lot more, to be adapted for the later part of the storyline. But
yeah.
as of right now, I don't know if they're gonna have any plans to make another season of this, because as far as I know, the light novel is still ongoing and not completed yet.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, based on what's going on currently in the plot, um, yeah, I mean, I think the plot has gone a pretty interesting direction. Like things have gotten a lot more interesting. Uh, but yeah, I mean, according to light novel readers, like things are moving at a pretty brisk pace, and they've cut a lot of content. So, but I mean, just from someone that hasn't read it, I feel like it is kind of noticeable in some areas, but just like I mentioned before, like based on how often like scenes tend to kind of jump around, um, and there's not really a lot of time spent with certain characters that I feel like there probably should be like more, like maybe some more there, like we mentioned before there, uh, that one character like Hippolyta, yeah, like we
Hippolyta,
haven't
yeah.
spent any time with her really, and I feel like there probably maybe there was some stuff cut there where there maybe was more scenes with her, but they couldn't adapt it because just for time reasons. Uh, but
Yeah. I mean, we don't even know her master
yeah,
yet. So
because
she just
it's funny because like
yeah,
every
so
other character I think that's involved as like we've seen their servants and masters, or well, they're like we've seen them at least. But Hippolyta, like we haven't really seen much of her at all. So
yeah, it's right, like right now, like I mean, at least I'm kind of glad a little bit that that they're holding off on much of that information because we already have like way too many other characters outside the master servant thing because they introduced like several other like characters like the members of the church. We see like the police officers from the police department as well. So like just a whole slew of other cast of characters just outside of the normal like master servant cast that we usually see.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was a decent episode. Um, a lot of like of course, interesting reveals. In regards to Ayaka about the mystery surrounding her, like what she really is, and of course, Waver's like yeah, of course, Waver like wondering like how he's gonna end up navigating this whole situation, and like well, he's also getting in contact with Flat too, somehow within that reality marble.
Oh yeah, right.
So
Because
yeah, we'll see where
Flat
this.
does try to like contact the outside, which
Yeah,
I think like doesn't Inkiru kind of help out with that too? Uh,
yeah, I think inadvertently. I mean, they weren't at the same
I
location.
think
I'm
they
not
are, but
sure.
they're in
I don't
different
know.
like reality. Like, is they're in the reality marble, and then Inkiru's back in the real world.
Yeah. But yeah. So hopefully we'll see what's gonna happen next. But um, like I said, it's just like I really feel like this is gonna end off in a somewhat inconclusive manner. Unfortunately, just
Yeah.
like I said, due to the fact that the light novel is not completed yet, we're just gonna be left off hanging until maybe they make another season sometime later. I'm not sure because they haven't really said anything, and I'm afraid like even if they do announce like another season, it'll likely have the same treatment as like when we were trying to wait for this entire show to come out in the first
Yeah, I mean,
place.
hopefully it's just not plagued with production issues like what apparently must have happened with this. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.